If you've ever tried to develop on Roblox Studio before, the scene right here may be quite familiar, as I'm sure it might be to any person who's ever touched Roblox Studio. You would know this is the Roblox Studio base plate. It's where everything starts out, right? It's just a blank slate with nothing on it. Now, how I got into game development was through Roblox Studio, seeing as I could do whatever I wanted really easily. Because if you open up Toolbox, I would just insert models and call that a game. I'll show you an example here. Perfect. Now we just go into playtest and already we have a game. So right now this game has, okay, well that wasn't anchored. Hold on. I don't know why that wasn't anchored, but whatever. There we go. That's a lesson to start off with. If something isn't anchored, it's just gonna fall, so make sure you anchor your things. So, 3 models, and we already have an obby. If you beat the obby, you get a car. Oh, that is pretty loud. Okay, you get a really loud car, but it's a car, so who cares? Alright, it's pretty janky, but yeah, we already have a game here pretty much, and all we did was drag and drop 3 things from Toolbox, just 3 free models. That's pretty cool. And the third model lets us do just whatever we want. Check this out. Oh. Lets us fly, lets us strike ourselves with lightning, lets us put people in jail. Oh, the jail's up there. Okay, well, you get the point. And it lets us beat ourselves up as well. So that is the power of just 3 free models. Now, when I first started game development, like I said, all I did was paste in free models and call that a game. And I mean, it's a game, but nobody's gonna play it besides yourself. Also, ooh man, Roblox Studio is really not trying to work with me today. But that's fine. We'll close this out anyway, and I'll come and show you my first game. Alright, this game right here is a remaster of a very old game, but it's relatively new. We're still working on it, but it looks great compared to what my games used to look like. I will give you a disclaimer, I still use free models, I don't care. I'm pretty open about that. Free models are just convenient. But this is how I build now. And it's, of course, significantly better than what it used to be. Most of this stuff I built on my own. But now I'll show you why I build the way I do and how you can do it as well. So let's get the clock app open, and then we're going to just start off by speedrunning. All right, I'm gonna build 2 sheds, and I'll see which of them I make faster, and I'll use 2 different building methods. So I'll pause the stopwatch here so I can explain things to you as well as we go along. But before we start, of course, always keep Explorer and Properties open. Explorer shows you everything that's in the game, the base plate, the spawn location. Here's where we can start. First off, we go into Models, or Model, go into the Model tab, and then press Part here. This will make a part appear, and you go into Properties to change the color. We want to make it look like wood because we're making a shed, of course. I think this looks pretty good. So, we're going to have to change the material to wood as well. So let's get wood planks. I don't like how that looks. We'll get regular wood. And we're just going to use Roblox's default tools that it gives you to build with. Select, move, scale, rotate. And we just need to establish a floor first. Now, we can just do right click and then duplicate. I prefer just pressing Control D, which is a thing you can do alternatively. There we go. Now we've got walls, which are just the floor, but different. Get a second wall as well. Now, undo that. Duplicate. So you might have seen that rotation I did just now. If you're dragging a part and you press R, you can rotate it as much as you'd like. Though the rotation is 90 degrees by default, so hopefully that doesn't trip you up. Though my next building strategy has a lot easier rotation, or has much easier rotation. I don't know what I said just then. A lot easier rotation. This shit's gonna help me work on my English, trust me. So, right now we've established a box, which is cool, I guess. That's the first step. So, oh no, okay, duplicate that. Alright, now we have a little doorway, which I'll just wrap up right here. Now right off the bat, here's a good building tip. You see how these textures don't match at all? It's like kind of frustrating, isn't it? Here's what you can do about that. Select multiple parts. You might be wondering, wait, how's he doing this? If you hold down Control when you select something, you can select another part with it. So I'm holding down Control here, but if I don't hold down Control, it just switches from part to part. So yeah, hold down Control, and then under the Model tab, press Union, and it turns it into one singular part, which also makes the texture line up completely. Isn't that cool? Now, I will take this one singular part, and maybe I want the walls to look a bit different, so I'll do that. Now we have an established wood plank wall area. Alright, now we have a roof established as well. We're just going to want to make the in-between areas, which is going to be kind of annoying, honestly. Let me ununionize this real quick. If you want to destroy a union, but like not delete everything, you just want to separate the parts, just do that. Now, if you want to build like a little thing to put a space here, you can do this two ways. One, you can search up the shape instead of just doing it the harder way. So like, there's a triangle, right? I'll just take this and edit it to my heart's content. There we go. That is filled in now. And so, we can just go and copy the brick color here. Control C, Control V down here, and then we'll change that to wood planks as well. Actually, we don't have to do that because I'll show you in a second. Let me Control D this area as well. Alright, there we go. Select this, and then reselect the walls. Perfect. And then what you want to do is just set the material to wood planks, because that's what sheds are supposed to be made out of. And yeah, this is a basic shed, and it took us almost 7 minutes. I didn't pause the stopwatch at all when I was explaining things, but that's because I was also working at the same time. But yeah, here you have it, a shed. Now, like I said, if you want the textures to line up perfectly, you're gonna have to unionize. You're gonna have to unionize most of that stuff. So let's just hit the union here, and boom. There we go. Now the textures are perfect here. Now there is a more difficult way to fill in this space here, which I used to do. Don't make this mistake if you're a rookie. Because when I say difficult way, it honestly just means it's a mistake. You can do this, where it's like, you actually just make it like a bunch of parts stacked on top of each other that, you know, basically just form a pyramid. This, of course, is gonna really ruin the performance of your game. I used to do this. Don't do this, please. Because I used to do this, like, even when I was making a fighting game, I was, like, actively doing this. If you're a rookie, here's a good tip. Don't, like, rush into making any big games. Make, like, small projects and ease your way into that. Because you're not gonna start off with a team of developers. Because if you're a rookie and you have a team of developers at your disposal or just a bunch of money, feel free to make as big a game as you want. At that point, it doesn't matter. But if you're just alone, you have to start off with small projects first and then build your way up the way I am right now. Building your way up slowly, just like the bricks here. Now, I want to say game development, like just about everything else, has its own philosophy as well. You're going to want to learn that, and you can interpret it in a lot of your own ways as well. It's pretty artistic, which I also like. But yeah, you can see here that this technique I just showed you is very much, it's counterproductive, is what I'm trying to say. Because I did all of that, which is probably costing me like an extra minute or 2 or 3 even, when I could have just pasted in that triangle, which I did for this side, but it doesn't seem to be here. So yeah, that was our first shed. And I guess I'll leave the back empty. I don't feel like adding the triangle back. Now, I like to use a plugin called Btools, or Btools. I like to call it Btools for short. So if you ever hear me refer to something called Btools in a video, know I'm referring to this plugin. I also use a few other plugins as well, but this is my main one. Now, I'm going to show you how fast you can make a shed with Btools rather than just doing what I just did. So let's do that. I'll show you exactly how to use Btools the way I am right after this as well. This is how long it took me for the second build. You can see it was almost twice as fast with the method I used, which is just use Btools instead of what Roblox gives you. Of course, you do want to use both of these tools. You want to use them collaboratively. You definitely want to use Roblox tools in some scenarios, and you also want to switch between Btools as well. So what I'm saying is use them interchangeably. But as you can see, they look relatively the same, aside from the fact that, like, you know, the only difference was the time it took to make them. Now, here's a disclaimer. Your building technique isn't going to your building technique isn't going to make your build look better than it would using another technique. Technique does not change how your build looks in the end. It's only going to change how fast you get it done. Which, you know, the faster you get it done, the faster you can focus on becoming better at building anyway. So in the long run, yes, it does help you become a better builder. Now, first off, you're going to go onto the Roblox site here. We're going to go into Create if we want Btools. This tab is really annoying to navigate, so just follow along what I do. Going to go into Store. We're going to go into Plugins. And then after that, we'll just search up F3X. Building Tools by F3X. Make sure it's uploaded by this person specifically. Gigs D4X. Now my internet is really not helping me right now, but it should look like either this or this. It'll probably look like this. Yeah, there we go. It loaded in. And so right here would be like a giant blue button, which is like buy the product. I'll show you like by selecting this instead. Oh, what? Hold on. It's not letting me. Oh, right here. It's right here. Okay, get plugin. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's right here. I don't know why it's not just there, but I already have the plugin, so I can just click try in Studio. And if you already have Studio open and you get a new plugin, you probably want to restart, but after that you go into Manage Plugins and you'll see Btools like somewhere over here with the thing off. So just search through your plugins till you see Btools. Click on the slider here and it'll add in the plugin. Of course I don't want to add this plugin because it's a mediocre plugin from what I've seen. And you also want to update your plugins regularly, especially Moon Animator if you have it. That updates decently often. And yeah, now you have access to building tools. For the most part, I'm going to recommend you learn how to do these on your own because building tools are like, they're more of a fun thing to use than anything. I'll show you how I learned to use Btools actually. It's not half bad. So you'll probably want to go into a game that has something like this. F3X Btools free build sandbox. Perfect. You just open that game and you let yourself load in, however long that's going to take. Probably going to take a while considering I have a bunch of apps open right now. Alright, yeah, let's just ignore all that. As you can see here, there are a bunch of options as to what we can do. And we can just play around, man. Like, we could duplicate this infinitely and then unanchor all of the parts here. If they would just move, and I don't think they will. I unanchored them, why aren't they? That's weird. Anyway, you just like play games like this and you mess around. Like, you should also look at the letters here on the side of your screen because that tells you how you can quickly access those parts of the menu. Z is movement, of course, X is scaling, C is rotating, and there's also the miscellaneous stuff like coloring is V. B is for like adding decals, I think. I don't know, surface tool. You probably don't want to use B ever. I never use B. N is materials and transparency. Let's make this kind of transparent, and let's also make this fabric as well, I guess. There we go. M is anchored or unanchored, which normally makes it so you can move parts, but oh, there we go. See, when it's anchored, you can move it just fine, but when it's unanchored, it just kind of moves around like that. And then we have K, which is collisions tool. And you can switch between collisions on and collisions off. So switch on to collisions off and you can go through things. That's cool for little like doors. If you want to make a door but you don't want to make it open or close, you can just make something like this and pretend it's a door and just put collisions off so people can go through it. It's like the lowest effort door you can make. Now we have the H key, which is just mesh, add a mesh to it. I never use this because, of course, if I'm going to add a mesh to something, I'm just going to use it. Well, I have my own strategy for that. I'll teach you guys that later, but the best thing is that you can just make parts instantly. You can just press J and they'll all be there. You just press J, click somewhere, and boom. You can also switch the type of part you want. You can get a ball, you can get a truss, you can get a wedge, a seat. By the way, you can sit on these, as you can see. You can get a vehicle seat, which is also just a seat, but it's like for cars. I don't think you should be using this though. It's pretty dated. A corner, and you can get like cylinders as well. Do remember to like switch back to a regular part though, because it remembers what part you had set to. So like if you want to insert a regular part, you might accidentally end up inserting a ball because you had it set to that. But it's a very versatile tool, so I recommend just playing games like this. I'll link this game in the description. I have like no affiliation with this game, but go give it a try anyway with Btools. Of course, make sure you have Btools right here in Studio as well. So when you want to actually develop in Studio, you can use them like that. And otherwise, yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.